Improving vocabulary can be daunting. Feeling like you don't have enough words to express yourself is really frustrating. I know. But what if I told you that there is one quick way for you to improve vocabulary in English without having to learn new expressions, phrasal verbs, and collocations? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey everybody, how's it going? Thiago here, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. In case you're new here, I've created this podcast and YouTube channel to help intermediate and advanced learners of English communicate with more confidence, more accuracy, more clarity, and more awareness. If this sounds like something you want for yourself and your English, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and also follow the show if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That way, you're not going to miss a single new episode. Also, don't forget to check out my pronunciation course, The Sounds of English. This is a course I've created to help you understand the main connected speech patterns that native speakers use in media and in real life, and also learn the main sounds of the English language. This course will help you improve your clarity, your pronunciation, and also it will help you better understand fast-spoken English. The course is available at a very special price on pre-sale still, so if I were you, I would secure that discount now. You can learn more about the course by clicking here below the video. The link is right there, and also in the show notes if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Okay, so one quick way to add more words to your vocabulary in English without having to learn new phrasal verbs, collocations, and expressions. I know it sounds too good to be true, but there is a way, guys, for you to add more words to your vocabulary. And this way is called word formation, by learning more about word formation. So we're going to be talking about word formation today and how word formation can help you expand your vocabulary range without necessarily having to learn new words per se. Okay? So first of all, what is word formation? Word formation, I call it the ability to form new words out of existing words using affixes. So basically you have a word and then you turn that word into another class of word. Let's say you have a noun and you turn that noun into a verb, and then you turn that verb into an adjective, and then you turn that adjective into an adverb. This is word formation, playing with the different forms of each word. Now, there are four main word classes. You probably know them all, right? We have nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. And the way to transform these words is by using affixes. What are affixes? That's the umbrella term for prefixes and suffixes. Affixes are used to change the meaning of a word. Prefixes are added to the beginning of the word, and suffixes are added to the end of the word. Let me give you an example. Let's pick the word imperfectly. Imperfectly. First, we have the root, or the main word here, which is perfect. And then, if I add the suffix "ly," the word becomes an adverb, and now I have perfectly. And if I add the prefix "im," now I have imperfectly, which is the opposite of perfectly. That's the opposite meaning of the adverb. So perfect is the root, or the main word, and then I have "im," the prefix, and "ly," the suffix. I start with an adjective, perfect, and then I end up with an adverb, perfectly or imperfectly. Why should you care about affixes? Why are prefixes and suffixes important for you to learn? Let me give you some reasons. Number one, it reduces the word count in your sentences. This is especially useful if you ever have to sit a proficiency exam, TOEFL, IELTS, Cambridge. These tests usually require you to write. You have a writing component in those tests. And you also have a word count there. You have a specific amount of time, and you need to write at least a certain number of words in that specific time. Knowing about affixes can help you reduce your word count, meaning that you are able to communicate more things in your piece of writing without using so many words. For example, instead of saying not aware, which is 2 words, why not use the prefix un? And now I have unaware. Unaware is just 1 word, but it means the same thing as not aware. If you are not aware of something, you are unaware of something. Instead of not sure, you can say unsure. I'm unsure about this. Instead of make sure, you can say ensure. So make sure you finish the report by Friday. You could say ensure you finish the report by Friday. All right? Do again, you could say redo. I'm adding the prefix re here, which means repetition, doing it again. So do again, redo. Okay? So unaware, unsure, ensure, redo. It's just 1 word that I'm using instead of using 2 words. So this is one benefit of learning about prefixes and suffixes. It reduces your word count. Another reason, another benefit is it helps you with the spelling of the words, especially when you have bigger words or longer words. For example, imagine I ask you to stop watching the video now, stop watching me, and just listen to me, okay? Maybe turn your head away from the video and just listen. If I ask you right now, while you are just listening, to pick a piece of paper, a pen, and write down the word unsuccessfully, could you do it right? Would you be able to spell this word or write this word correctly, unsuccessfully? Maybe yes, maybe not, because this is a tricky word to spell. There are many double letters there. Now you can come back to the video, by the way, okay? So what if you break the word down into root plus prefixes and suffixes? Now it becomes much easier. What is the root of the word here? What is the main word? Success. The noun, success. So you can write success first, double C, double S, and then you can add the suffix full, which is F-U-L. Now I have successful. Then you can add another suffix, which is the ly suffix, L-Y. And now I have successfully. By the way, that's why the word successfully is spelled with a double L, because 1 L belongs to the suffix full, F-U-L, and the other L belongs to the suffix ly, L-Y. That's why successful has only 1 L at the end, but successfully has 2 L's. And then you just add the prefix at the beginning, un, U-N. And there you go. You have unsuccessfully. So breaking the word down like this can be really useful when you have to write an email, a report, an essay on an exam, especially when it comes to longer words. All right. Another benefit of learning more about word formation, prefixes, suffixes, is it helps you decode the meaning of long words. Not only does this knowledge help you spell the words correctly, but it also helps you better make sense or understand longer words. For example, let's pick the word spinelessness. Spinelessness. Okay, let's break it down. We have spine. That's the root, spine. Your spine is your backbone here. You have the bone, the long bone that you have on your back. That's your spine, okay? And then I have the suffix less. So I have spineless. And then I have the suffix ness. So spineless, okay? Less is a suffix that means without. So spineless means without a spine, okay? And ness is a suffix that communicates the idea of the state of something. So spinelessness is the state of not having a spine. By the way, if you call someone spineless, you mean that person has no courage. That person is a chicken. No courage, not brave. You are spineless. So spinelessness would be the state of not having courage, basically. Another example, I have the word cashless. So we start with the root, cash, that's money, physical money. Cashless, remember, less means without. So cashless, no money or no physical money, without physical money, cashless. Or kindness. Remember, ness is the state of something. So kind is a generous person, is a nice person. Kindness is the state of being kind. You see, so being familiar with the suffixes and prefixes and what they mean also helps to decode or understand the meaning of especially longer words. All right? Now, how can you use this knowledge to expand your vocabulary? Think about all the 4 possible forms of a word. You have a word in front of you. Think about the noun form of that word, the verb form, the adverb form. Okay? Here's an example. Let's pick the word beautiful. I'm sure you know the word beautiful. It's a basic word. So we start here. Beautiful is an adjective, right? What is the noun form for beautiful? Beauty. Okay? What is the adverb form of beautiful or beauty? Beautifully. And finally, what is the verb form of beautiful? Beautify. Beautify. That's the verb. That's the action. To beautify something means to make something look more attractive, look more beautiful. You see, I bet you knew the words beautiful, maybe even beautifully, or beauty. But have you ever heard the word beautify? You see? So I'm still working with the same root, with the same word. I'm just changing the class. All right? Here's an example with these words. The volunteers worked beautifully together to beautify the city park, adding colorful flowers and enhancing its natural beauty. You see? So the volunteers worked beautifully together. An adverb gives a quality or characteristic to a verb. It's about how something is done or performed or executed. How did the volunteers work? They worked beautifully together. And what did they do? What were they doing? They were beautifying the city park. They were working to beautify the city park, to make the park look more gorgeous, beautiful, more attractive. Okay? Adding colorful flowers and enhancing its natural beauty, the natural beauty of the park. So in the same sentence, I'm using beautifully, beautify, and beauty. I'm using the adverb, the verb, and the noun. Let me give you one more example. Let's pick the word employ. What kind of word is employ? Which class does it belong to? It's a verb. If you employ somebody, you give that person a job. A company employs people. A company provides people with jobs. So the company employs people. But we also have employee, which is a noun. We have employer, which is another noun. We have employment, which again is a noun. We have employable. It's an adjective. We have employability. That's also a noun. We have unemployed. That's an adjective. And we have unemployment. That's a noun. You see how many different formations we can have here with the same word, employ. So just to recap the meaning here, to employ someone means to give that person a job. An employee is a person who has a job, who works for a company. An employer is usually the boss or the company, the entity that provides the person with the job. Employment is a noun. You can use this word to talk about work in general, employment, all right? Employable is an adjective. Are you employable? If you are employable, it means that it isn't so hard for you to find jobs or for you to land jobs. You are an employable person. You have desirable skills to offer the market. So you are employable. And then we have the noun employability. If you are not employable enough, that means you have to raise your level of employability. How? By learning new skills, maybe going back to school and getting more qualifications, gaining more work experience. By doing these things, you will be raising or enhancing your level of employability. Then we have unemployed, another adjective. If you are unemployed, you are out of a job. You have no job. And unemployment is the state of not having work. Unemployment, that's the noun. So let me give you an example using these words in context. All right? Listen. In the current job market, employers are actively seeking skilled employees to fill a variety of roles. While unemployment rates have fluctuated in recent years, there is still a high demand for individuals with strong employability skills. For those seeking employment, it's crucial to highlight the skills and experience that align with the needs of potential employers. Networking and building relationships with industry professionals can also increase employability and open doors to new opportunities. However, unemployment remains a challenge for some individuals. It's essential for job seekers to stay persistent, continuously develop their skills, and explore different avenues to find fulfilling employment. So I'm using all these variations of the word employ in this context. For example, employers are actively seeking skilled employees, right? While unemployment rates have fluctuated in recent years, there is a high demand for individuals with strong employability skills, or even strong employability, I would say, or high employability. For those seeking employment, if you are seeking employment, you are looking for a job, you are looking for work, you are seeking employment. Potential employers, these are your potential companies, potential future bosses. And then employability opens doors to new opportunities. Unemployment remains a challenge for some people. In other words, not being able to find work remains a challenge. But you see how cool this is? I could say, however, not being able to find work remains a challenge for some individuals. But you see how many words I have to use here to communicate this idea? I can communicate all of that with just one word, unemployment. Not being able to find work, that's unemployment. So, unemployment remains a challenge for some individuals. You see, it also helps to be more concise in your communication. And then find fulfilling employment. In other words, find fulfilling jobs or fulfilling work. So now let me give you some more examples here. I'm not going to present you with an extensive list of suffixes and prefixes. The purpose of today's episode is just to open your mind and open your eyes to this topic. And then I trust that you are going to go after this topic and learn more about it on your own after. So let me give you an example of a noun suffix, ship. Ship is a suffix that forms nouns. It turns words into nouns. So for example, membership. I have the word member, and then I turn it into membership. I have the word partner, I turn it into partnership. Citizen is turned into citizenship. Here are some example sentences. The website requires a premium membership to access exclusive content and features. The two companies formed a strategic partnership to develop innovative products and expand their market reach. She applied for citizenship after living in the country for 5 years and meeting all the requirements. Let's go back to the first example here. The website requires a premium membership to access exclusive content. In other words, the website requires you to be a premium member to access exclusive content. I'm saying the same thing, but using different words. In the first option, I'm using membership. In the second option, I'm using member. What about the second example? The two companies formed a strategic partnership. Or the two companies became strategic partners. Okay? She applied for citizenship, or she applied to become a citizen. You see, I'm communicating the same ideas, but just playing with the different formations of these words. Because sometimes, guys, having good vocabulary range is not necessarily about learning or knowing different words. It's just about knowing how to play with different variations of the words you already know and knowing how to communicate the same idea in different ways. This is good vocabulary range. Okay? Let's move on. Let me give you now some adjectives as example. One suffix you can use to turn a word into an adjective is the suffix full, F-U-L. So, for example, I have success. If I add full, now I have the adjective, successful. I have plenty. Now I have plentiful. I have forget, the verb. Now I have forgetful, the adjective. Let me give you some examples here. Check it out. The forgetful student, despite having plentiful notes and study materials, still struggled to remember the key points for the upcoming exam. The forgetful student. Forgetful is an adjective that is qualifying the student here, is giving the student a characteristic. What kind of student was he? He was a forgetful student. And then plentiful. Plentiful notes means many notes. Okay? You see, we are playing with different variations of the words. Just one final example about forgetful. You could say, my grandma forgets things all the time. Or, my grandma is quite forgetful. You see? Moving on, we have verbs. One common suffix for you to turn any word into a verb is the suffix n, en at the end. For example, short. A short person is a person who is not tall. Short is an adjective. But if I add the suffix en to the adjective short, now I have the verb to shorten something. To shorten means to make something short. Now it becomes an action. Just like sweet becomes sweeten, and worse becomes worsen. When the situation worsens, the situation gets worse. Here are some examples. The tailor needs to shorten the sleeves of his jacket. They are too long. In other words, the tailor needs to make the sleeves shorter. Or, to make this tea more enjoyable, I usually sweeten it with a spoonful of honey. You sweeten the tea. You make it sweet. And then the doctor is concerned that the patient's condition will worsen if he doesn't start the treatment soon. In other words, the patient's condition will get worse. All right? And let me give you now some examples with adverbs. If I say to you, she's a beautiful singer, I'm using the adjective beautiful here. She's a beautiful singer. If I say she's a beautiful singer, I'm talking about her as a whole, the whole person here. She's a beautiful singer. Now, if I say she sings beautifully, now by using the adverb beautifully, I am talking specifically about the act of singing. How does she sing? She sings beautifully. Before she's a beautiful singer, I'm focusing on her as a person. She sings beautifully. Now I'm focusing on the action of singing and how that action is executed. Another example, he's a careless driver on the road. What kind of driver is he? A careless driver. That's an adjective. Versus he drives carelessly on the road. Now I'm talking specifically about how he drives, the act of driving. He drives carelessly. Okay? Now, of course, we can't forget about the prefixes. So far, I've been giving you some examples with suffixes. What about prefixes? Let me give you 3 examples here. We have the prefix im, that's I am. We have the prefix un, that's un. And we have the prefix over. For example, I have the word mature. If I add the prefix im at the beginning, now I have immature. And by the way, the word immature is spelled with double M. Why? Because I have the M for mature and the M for the prefix im. Okay? And then I have unnatural, which is the opposite of natural. Again, double N. I have the N for natural plus the N for the prefix unnatural. Finally, I have overwork. To work is one thing, but to overwork is something else entirely. To work too much. Let me give you an example sentence. His immature behavior and unnatural obsession with his work are clear signs of overwork. Okay? Amazing, isn't it? So notice that this is a simple and quick way for you to add more words to your vocabulary in English, for you to add more color and more variation to your vocabulary use without necessarily having to learn new words altogether, new phrasal verbs, new expressions. Okay? And it's a real powerful way to add to your vocabulary in English. Now, how to go about it? Let me close this episode by giving you some tips on how you can study this stuff by yourself, on your own. First of all, use an English to English dictionary. My favorite is the Cambridge Dictionary, but you can also use Oxford, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, but use an English to English dictionary. Because if you're not sure which class a word belongs to, just look it up in the dictionary. The dictionary will tell you if it's a noun, if it's a verb, if it's an adverb. The cool thing also is that if you look up a word in the dictionary, it gives you the definition, but it also gives you the other variations there of that word, the adjective variation, the adverb variation when they exist. Okay? Another tip, you can make a list of words that you already know, and then you can look for the other formations of those words. Make a list of 10, 20 words that you already know, and then go one by one and try to increase the variations here. If you have the word beautiful, look up the noun form for beautiful, the adverb form, the verb form, and so on. So for each word that you have on your list, you're going to be adding at least 2 or 3 new variations of that same word. Okay? Nowadays, you can also use AI to help you with this. Go to ChatGPT, go to Google Gemini or Microsoft Bing, and you can ask the tool to tell you what kind of word that is or to give you the formations. For example, you can go to ChatGPT and you can type in, please give me the noun form of the word beautiful. It's going to give you beauty. And then you can follow up. You can say, great, now give me 5 example sentences with the word beauty. So you can see the word beauty in action. Because the trick about this method, guys, is that you have to learn how to use the word in the sentence. The way you use beautiful, the adjective, is one way. The way you use the word beautifully, the adverb, is different, okay? So by asking ChatGPT, for example, for sentences, you can see how those words are actually used in sentences, okay? Finally, another great tip I can give you here is prep for a Cambridge exam. As far as I know, the Cambridge exams are the only exams that specifically test you on this topic, on word formation. If you take the B2 first exam of Cambridge, the C1 advanced, or the C2 proficiency of Cambridge, in the reading and use of English paper, there is one specific exercise that is all about this, all about word formation. So you don't have to take the test, but maybe buy some prep course books for a B2 first exam, a C1 advanced exam, and do the exercises there. You're going to have a lot of word formation exercises for you to practice this ability of turning nouns into verbs, into adverbs, into adjectives. Okay? And that's all I have for today's episode, guys. I hope you found it useful for your vocabulary. Now go out there and learn some word formation on your own. Don't forget to check out my pronunciation course. It's still on pre-sale. It's a great course for you to learn the main sounds of the English language, the main connected speech patterns, so that you can speak with more flow, more clarity, and also better understand fast-spoken English. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. That's the first big milestone of the channel here. So help me out by subscribing if you're not a subscriber yet, and share the channel with people you know and who like English so that we can get to 100,000 subscribers faster. If you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave me a 5-star review on those platforms. That also helps me a lot on those platforms. And that's about it for now. I'm Thiago. Thank you very much for listening until now, and I'll be talking to you very soon in the upcoming episode. Bye-bye.